Ladies and gentlemen, for the 100th fucking time in Schmoe history, welcome to the Two Schmoe Show. I'm your host, the infamous Orion, and realistically, we're like on episode 200 something, but this is the 100th episode of the podcast, so hell yeah.
No, Cairo. I'm also a Schmoe. It's got to be close to, like, I can probably figure that out. That's not that hard. Yeah.
We started this, like, what, 2017?
I'm pretty sure we did it for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
At least 3 years at WOCR.
Yeah.
And we had 4 months off over summer-ish.
Yep, and then graduation, and it took us like a year to get our footing after college.
So it would have been at least 100 episodes just at WOCR.
Yes. Our indie work. Don't worry, everybody, if you haven't heard it. It was arguably a worse show because I couldn't swear as much as I want to.
It's true. Every week, I keep expecting to click over to Rotten Tomatoes and see the next Black Panther movie be at the top. Like, I keep thinking, like, it has to be coming out, right?
Yeah.
And it just never is. It is next weekend.
Next weekend. Ooh. You're right. Okay, I have like a party I'm going to for that. We are actually going to go see it on the 18th. And then there's a GameStop right next to it, so we're going to do like a midnight release. We're going to a late viewing showing of Wakanda Forever. Then we're going to the midnight release of the new Pokemon games. So
yeah.
Guess that's actually Thursday to Friday, but oh well.
Did you see the new Pokemon that they revealed today?
Oh, the little ghost, the ghost coin man.
Yeah,
I love him. He looks like the.
I think he looks like absolute shit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I saw it and I was just like, oh, cool. They did like a mimic Pokemon or something, and it's just not.
He's a little ghosty that hangs on the chest. What's your problem, Kyril?
I feel like it is just devoid of all context in the way that they announce it.
Yeah, well, they did like an ARG for it, because like they did it where they just gave like a little link to a chest, and then it filled up with coins throughout the day, and then people kept saying they saw them in Pokemon Go. So they tried to like do an ARG, but they did no build up or like anything crazy.
I just don't get it from like a visual standpoint, right? Because it looks like an old sort of like piratey chest.
Yeah.
But then it's just like a weird little. Like it looks like almost like a Rotom.
Almost. I see what you mean. Like the general philosophy of the design.
It just doesn't add up. I don't know.
I don't know either. But you know what I do know?
What's that?
He's a friend.
Yeah. Scarlet and Violet definitely has a bunch of weird little guys. That is true.
Okay, a moment of truth, my friend, because like this is, I believe, a litmus test for our generation and generations a little bit before us, and then we'll definitely be afterwards. What is a peak Pokemon design to you? Because I always like the funky little guys.
I enjoy the ones that are closer to animals that we have.
Which is fair.
It just, I get that it's like just not, but the games that I enjoy are the ones that are very similar to like real life, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's like a twist on our world rather than a different world entirely. And seeing stuff like that breaks that type of immersion.
You know, I can respect that. I really do. Counterpoint, right?
Yeah.
I want a little fucking gremlin. Give me the little gremlin dudes, you know? The fact that I can say we have an electric guitar Pokemon and it's a fucking purple lizard that shoots lightning, he's beautiful. I love him. He's my favorite. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
I feel like I do.
Yeah.
I don't know the names of most of the new ones, but I've definitely at least seen them.
Look at my gremlin boy Toxtricity. He's an
Mhm.
emo, little punk, and I love him. He even has a form for a bass guitar version of himself. That's how perfect he
Yes,
is.
I do know that one.
Yes. Oh boy, you can tell we're getting next to midterms because my phone is fucking blowing up right now with all those random spam
Yeah,
numbers.
I could have sworn, isn't yeah, Rotten Tomato. I don't know why it is, but Rotten Tomatoes changed the way their website works on the opening this week tab, where it's not they like change the way it ranks things. So like the Weird Al Yankovic documentary thing or mockumentary thing
Yeah,
is coming out this week, and it's just not on their new in theaters page.
that's really weird because that's
You
like
either have to
arguably the biggest movie right now.
yeah, you either have to choose to sort by most popular in theaters in general or strictly by newest.
Hmm.
And it feels like that should be not the way it is. Because it wasn't before. They had it differently with the way that they used to have it, where there would be like at least some sort of curation where they would put movies that were being talked about higher up. And they've stopped doing that, I guess.
Is the Weird Al movie doing particularly well? That's a big question.
It's doing yes, yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
It is very much being reviewed favorably both by critics and audiences.
Good, 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 good. What is your opinions on the artist known as Weird Albert, Abnormal Albert, if we will?
Um, man, I'm trying to think of a good analogy for it. I very much appreciate what he does, and as something that I'll maybe hear one song a year from, I enjoy it in that specific amount. If it was something if I was like required to listen to it in any of a greater amount, I feel like it would very much get tiring very quick.
You know, I will say this: I love Weird Al. I respect him a
Mhm.
lot. However, I've only managed to listen to one of his albums front to back properly. And
Yeah.
surprisingly, it happens to be the stuff he's parodying that I grew up in high school with. So obviously, I have a little bit of a bias towards that.
Yeah.
Did you hear Weird Al is endorsing people to pirate the movie?
Good. It's only on Hulu or some shit.
It's Roku, actually.
I think it's the same. Oh no, it is Roku. Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like what the hell?
yeah. Here's his official statement from someone saying they can't get it in Australia because Roku isn't up in Australia. Roku is working on it. In the meantime, there's VPN. Very probably no way to watch it legally. I'm sure you'll have a torrent of other questions, but I have to move along. Sorry.
Yeah. Very
Which
nice.
we will stand this king telling you to pirate his goddamn movie. Hell yeah.
I think a good way to put it is that I respect Weird Al, even if I don't necessarily enjoy listening to his stuff all the time.
Yeah, Weird Al you have to be in a mood for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird Al is the kind of stuff you put on when you're in like a party and you're just chilling with your friends. It's not
Yeah.
the kind of stuff I would listen to very seriously.
Yeah.
Um, outside of maybe a few of his stuff.
I would agree.
Ever
And that's
heard?
kind of my perspective on a lot of like music, like comedy music.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great way of putting it. The king of comedy music, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Normal Albert, I know you're listening to this show right now, so for our 100th episode, feel free to call us up and we'll do an interview episode. It's gonna be great. Wasn't there like I think there was actually like a point where Weird Al was doing like orchestral tours, which was out of this world.
I haven't heard about that. I could totally see it though. That sounds exactly like what I'd expect him to do.
Yeah, Weird Al Orchestra. Yeah, Strings Attached tour, 2019
Interesting.
to 2019. It was very short. Do we have anything to talk about in the news today? Or are we just going to gush about Weird Al?
A couple of quick things,
Yo.
but it's mostly going to be entertainment related, I think, this week. Just because we're kind of in like the quiet before the midterm storm, you know?
The midterms are going to suck.
Yep. A lot of the news cycle right now is dominated by rampant speculation, and I don't think that's particularly fun.
I don't think it's a particularly newsworthy. Like,
No, not really.
yeah,
I mean, it has a place, but talking about it secondhand isn't that.
commentary on elections is just bullshit. Because, like,
Yep,
everybody's made their mind by now. You can pull as much as you
pretty
want,
much.
but to try and fill up an hour with your speculation,
Hmm.
it's just not newsworthy.
So instead, we're going to talk about the election in Brazil.
Yay, someone else.
Brazil's election is done, and Lula beat Bolsonaro by a pretty tight margin, from what I understand. I have to go and check like the actual numbers. It was like a clear victory, but yeah, it's like with every election, it seems like these days. Um, but good news, of course. Bolsonaro was in the days up into it. Him and his supporters were touting the possibility of trying their own January 6th.
Yeah.
And in the wake of Lula winning, some of his supporters did try to do, like block roadways and stuff and all that kind of crap. But was, at least compared to what happened both in the US and Canada, much smaller scale because it was just not organized movements. This was just idiots acting on their own volition. Um, and I got to see if I can find it because they had like actual roadblocks that these people had tried to set up, but they were apparently not adequate because they were, from what I understand, broken up by soccer fans, which is like, if you know Brazil and soccer, you know you don't mess with the soccer people. You just don't do it.
That's a fate worse than death.
I gotta see if I can find it. Do you know M Lemon, the YouTuber?
Yes.
He did a video about like the greatest sports upsets in the history, and one of the ones he highlights in that video was an old, I'm pretty sure it was like World Cup soccer sort of thing,
Hmm.
where it was in Brazil, and they did this whole big thing when they were celebrating in Brazil. And it was like Brazil and some underdog country were the last two standing, and Brazil lost due to basically the tiebreaker rules that they had. And it ended up being that because of that loss, Brazilian fans threw themselves to their death from the stands. And when
Oh
that
my
happened, like
god.
that is the level of seriousness that some of these Brazilian soccer fans are. And yeah, Brazilian football fans clear pro Bolsonaro blockades, saying we are for democracy, and also they wanted to go to their soccer games.
Yeah, that sounds about right. More power to them.
Yeah. And thankfully, it was 2 days after the results were finalized, but 2 days isn't that bad given that you have weekends and stuff. Bolsonaro did come out and publicly admitted his loss to Lula.
Thank you, Bolsonaro.
So yeah, it's like the least you can do, but you did do it.
It's not like he went 2 years spouting that, it's been rigged against him the whole time. How crazy would it be if he just spent the last 2 fucking years of his goddamn life just, going up to crowds of people saying, I should have won the whole time, and just like sitting back on his ass and doing nothing about it? How pathetic.
Best joke I've seen for it is that Bolsonaro was quoted as saying the loss was like a stab in the gut
Yes.
because when he was running for president, he was stabbed in the gut on the election trail.
uh,
uh, But yeah, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva defeated current sitting president Jair Bolsonaro in a runoff election last Sunday with a winning 50.9% of the votes for Bolsonaro. Uh, Interestingly, this is like the whole thing, is that before Bolsonaro took office, Lula was arrested as a part of the larger Operation Car Wash that was a broad multi-billion dollar endeavor
Hmm.
by Brazilian authorities to crack down on apparent bribery and corruption, which was rampant at the time and was largely successful in removing corrupt politicians and having them arrested and put in jail. But it seems another part of that was that the people arresting the corrupt politicians were also corrupt themselves.
No.
I would need to look up the details exactly, but the gist of it is that Lula, the former president, was implied as one of these corrupt politicians and was arrested for a number of months, years, barred from being able to run in the election that Bolsonaro won. And in that election, early polls had Lula as the favorite to win from jail if he had been allowed to actually put his name on the ballot. And it came out after Bolsonaro was elected that there was some corruption at the level of the courts that they that had Lula in some way either not basically given due process. He may have done some amount of corrupt acts, but the punishment that he received and the way that he was treated in the Brazilian courts was found to not be appropriate, and he was released, which
Mm.
allowed him to run in this election and win.
So
So we'll see what
fascinating,
happens.
Brazil.
He has historically, he was president before, was very popular, right?
Yeah.
And it will just be, a matter of time to see once he gets back in office if he can retain that popularity. Um, Hopefully we'll be able to see some reversal of the extreme right decisions that Bolsonaro is making, particularly, of course, as it relates to the Amazon being massively clear cut for like livestock space was one of the things that Bolsonaro was highly criticized for. That hopefully a bit of a leadership change could put a curb to. Next up,
Yo.
we have some Canada news. Canadian school teachers are striking, have been for some time now, and have been threatened by an Ontario law they're trying to pass, being called Bill 28, that would fine them 4,000 Canadian dollars, roughly 3,000 US dollars per day, for each day they strike and refuse to return to work. Is notable because this bill, Bill 28, is specifically at odds with Canada's Charter of Rights and Freedom, and it is being slipped through the Ontario government by, oh, they had a specific term for it here, the notwithstanding clause. And this is like all the kind of stuff that is pretty intentionally jargony to
Hmm.
not make sense to the average person. But the gist is that the Ontario government has found a way to just sort of sidestep the Canadian equivalent of the Bill of Rights. Um,
That's impressive.
this has resulted in only greater outcry against it, as well as calls for other related unions to step up and pledge to strike in solidarity with the teachers. This is the Canadian Union of Public Employees that were originally striking, and along with them, some tens of thousands of other unions, because they're also at risk now, right? If they can do it to the teachers' union, they can do it to any union. It's just a pretty blatant attack on the workers' rights that these people have, and hopefully the Ontario government realizes what a stupid idea they're doing by having this, and especially over such small numbers. The Canadian Union of Public Employees, COOP, was requesting an 11.7% annual pay raise for the union's employees across the board, so for all employees. But according to local media, COOP was willing to drop that to only 6% during last minute negotiations. The government, though, countered with only 2.5% for some employees making less than 43 Canadian per year and 1.5% for those earning more. Uh, while Canada has experienced average inflations over the last year of 7%. So clearly not adding up. And I'll be right back. Sorry.
Oh, cat interference.
I am returned.
The cat run
Um,
interference.
yeah. It's the same problem. I think the answer is just going to be that I need to find a new computer case that doesn't have the power button on the top of it.
Ooh,
Because Rin jumps up on top of it, and when she goes to jump down, she steps on the power button because it's at the one end of it. And she doesn't mean to,
yeah.
but it does happen, and it's not ideal.
Rin's trying to silence the podcast.
Yeah. But yeah, uh, kind of fucked up what's happening over there in Canada. Hopefully, there's positive news in the coming days.
Rin was
But
hired by the Canadian government
yeah,
to silence our our broadcast.
Canadian sleeper agent.
That's it. That's it. That's like why she just showed up at your door one day, dude.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The Canadian government's watching us.
Yeah.
This is now canon in the show's lore.
Last piece of less serious overall, but just more updates on Twitter continuing its slow march to imploding on itself.
Hell yeah.
Big news this week is that a number of former Twitter employees now have filed a lawsuit in the courts of California under the WARN Act, basically arguing that they were subject to large layoffs without adequate notice ahead of time. And should they win, they would be awarded, I believe it's like 60 days severance at least. I heard in response that, Elon Twitter were working to coordinate 90 days of severance with an NDA attached, but we'll have to see how that actually turns out. As far as I'm aware, the court cases that were, or the legal action that was filed remains filed.
Mm-hmm.
And in the crucible of hard and fast debate that is Stephen King's replies,
Oh.
uh, Elon has gone from saying that Twitter Blue will be $20 a month to it will be $8 a month, and has basically made it so that because they've made it so that having Twitter Blue will also give you the fancy little Twitter checkmark, which
Ooh.
was previously reserved for public figures and verified accounts. And they've said that they're going to implement something else, but at the same time, like, have you seen? I mean, I feel like most people who are, connected to the internet have seen the rampant scam activity that's been happening on YouTube,
Yeah.
where people who are not the channel in question will make fake accounts with names similar to that channel and interact with people in the replies of that to scam them on other social media sites. Hey, message me on totally the real person's Telegram channel for participating in giveaway. Just give us $5 for shipping and we'll send you your reward. There's a surprising number of people that fall for that kind of stuff. And I feel like Elon, in his infinite wisdom, either doesn't know or doesn't care about actual site security. Probably doesn't care, given the number of people he's been firing and the positions they've held.
Yeah.
Um, but being able to purchase something as simple as a check mark to put next to your name that you can make whatever you want will only result in increased, more prevalent scam activity. And the real kicker is that part of Twitter Blue is now going to include priority in replies and searches. So say if you are a person who has a brand on Twitter
Hmm.
and you don't buy Twitter Blue for your brand account, you risk someone else making an account with a similar name and purchasing Twitter Blue. And when someone searches for your brand, they're sent to another brand or an outright scam account instead. But there's no way that it's going to be abused. It'll be
No.
fine. Don't worry about it.
What the fuck are you talking about abuse for, Kyril? It's literally got nothing to do with being abused.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the real kicker is that advertisers are already pulling out.
Darn.
Uh, Volkswagen, which owns, of course, VW, Audi, Porsche, as well as GMC, which has a whole shitload of car companies under its banner, have both announced that they're no longer going to be running advertisements on Twitter. I believe I heard that Johnson and Johnson and Pfizer were both also pulling their advertisement from Twitter, basically just citing the general uncertainty and changing public opinion of the platform, right? Like, if you're an advertiser, you don't even want to risk having your ad put next to some idiot kid saying the N word. And that's the public perception that Elon has stirred up with the acquisition that he's gone forward with.
So I'm on Twitter right now, and I'm kind of seeing what I can generate as like the ads that are on here right now, just to kind of gauge like who is going
Mm-hmm.
through it. And it's interesting to me that it's like a lot of sports teams, a lot of content creators doing promotions. Like
Yep.
the first real thing I would say that's like a traditional ad would be like American Express Business, which just popped up on my end. Which I'm sure they probably just got some contract that they're trying to walk out with, and the Wall Street Journal actually. Ooh, did you know Outback Steakhouse? Spice up your night with our new Nashville hot wings. A pound of chicken wings fried, then coated with our fiery Nashville style dry rub. Served with a house made blue cheese dressing and celery made available for a limited time. Right next to some kid saying the N word.
I'm actually wondering if my Twitter's like broken or something because I'm not able to find an ad scrolling through it right now.
Motherfucker.
Like, it's kind of weird.
I want no ads on Twitter. Teach me
I,
your secret, Kyril.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
Tell me.
That's oh, it's yeah, okay.
You know what this whole Twitter Blue situation
Uh,
reminds me of?
fun fact
Yep.
for uh these increasing times of Twitter ads, Adblock still works.
See, I'm doing this on my phone. I can't get ad block on there quite yet.
Mm. Let me actually check something. I'm curious. Do I have it? I might not have it on this phone. I don't have it. Uh, I highly recommend looking into Firefox in the near future because Google is changing the way that Chrome operates with ad blockers, and it is likely that most ad blockers won't function properly on Chrome anymore, but they will function on Firefox.
Mozilla Firefox, it's the Linux of browsers.
Pretty much. And it's just way less bloat in general.
Yeah. Probably not as fast, but I don't care.
It used to be, but they've actually just kind of improved it, so it's just fine now.
Oh, then I'm going to take a look at
Yeah,
that, actually.
I need to try it myself still. This is mostly just what I've heard lately because people are not happy that I'm pretty sure it's like January 1st. Google's changing their policies so that it just won't work with certain ad or it's the current ad blockers will not be able to work on all sites. It
Hmm.
is like a database change with what certain plugins are allowed to interact with. So we'll see how it goes with that. But I certainly plan to start looking into Firefox pretty soon here to just not have to deal with that shit, right?
I think it's pretty interesting how mainstream internet is getting corporatized really fast. That people are kind of like regressing back to earlier things that haven't like joined the corporate culture of the internet yet, to go back to like that less advertised feel, that less sensitized internet that we're all kind of seeing emerge. What you doing there, bud?
I'm just getting ready for the next stories.
Ooh, what's the next story, bud?
I figure we're probably just gonna start going up to entertainment now. 'Cause that's kind
Hell
of
yeah.
it. It's slow.
It is slow.
Oh, I guess technically entertainment. Uh, Aaron Carter passed away this weekend. Tragic.
Very sad.
Official cause of death has not been reported yet, but according to TMZ, LA police arrived at the scene after receiving a report of drowning. So seems likely drug related, which would not be surprising.
I'm sad now.
You know,
I never really, to be honest with you, and I'm going to be very blunt here, and this is going to sound awful, but I don't know
Mhm.
any Aaron Carter music.
uh, it was all part of the like boy band stuff, right? In
Yeah.
Sync, Block, New Kids on the Block, all that kind of crap. His brother Nick Carter was Backstreet Boys, right?
No.
Or was it? It was an In Sync.
I
It
don't
was
know.
one of them.
Yeah.
But no, he was Backstreet Boys. Nick Carter was Backstreet Boys.
I know nothing about boy bands.
Mm.
Here, you know what I know about boy bands, Kyril?
What's that? What's that?
BTS is
Okay,
Korean. South Korean to
that's
be
not
exact.
wrong.
And there we go with all my knowledge about boy bands.
Mhm. Did you hear though that BTS is like going on kind of a weird hiatus thing because of
Yeah, the military
Korea's
service.
military service? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that. Like in one respect, I
Eh,
totally get like the country is like no exceptions. But at the
I
same
yes,
yeah. But
that's the big thing for me.
the other big thing is that's a lot of your GDP apparently. I
Hmm.
like from what I hear is that one goddamn ban, which I don't understand that.
I would question that. Like Samsung is so big.
Yeah, that too. Wait, Samsung's Korean?
Yeah,
I did not know
yeah.
that.
Korea has like, there's a word for it. Three companies that just kind of do everything. Because you have Samsung that's obviously in like traditional tech phones, TVs, but they also just do washers and dryers and all sorts of industrial crap because they can. They have all the factories.
I mean, why not?
Mitsubishi doing everything from cars to air conditioners to yeah, like you
Mi-
said, why not?
Mitsubishi is a Korean brand? A South Korean brand?
No,
Oh,
I think pretty sure they're Japanese, but it's the
yeah.
same idea
Okay.
where it's a brand that just does so many different things that they kind of have their hands in everything in that country. Samsung for Korea, at least.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. And it's kind of the same way in the US, to be honest,
Yeah.
with like GM doing, does it have a motor? Probably has some connection to GM at some point.
Does it have a General Motor? Hmm.
Yeah.
I wonder what company would
It's
handle
like,
this.
it's, especially with all the military activity.
What are your thoughts on BTS since they're like the big boy band of our generation?
I have never heard a BTS song, so I don't know.
Oh my god, there's a pop station up here in Grand Rapids that plays a lot of fucking BTS. I don't understand because I don't think we have that great of a K-pop scene up here. Don't know any other Korean bands besides BTS. Yet somehow
Mhm.
this shit is always on the fucking radio. I hear no one ever bringing up that they like BTS around here, but somehow Fucking Dynamite plays 24/7 up here, and I want to jump
Yeah.
off a bridge.
I think you'd be surprised. There's probably not like a ton of people that are explicit fans of K-pop, but that are fans of BTS.
I do feel like they have that appeal out of their genre, if that makes sense.
Yep. They hit a broad market.
They really do hit a broad market. And you know what? I'm gonna say this as well. Like, I know there's probably got to be a market up here because a lot of the music shops around here sell like all that fancy K-pop music packaging. Have you
Mm-hmm.
ever seen music packaging for K-pop?
Oh no, never.
Oh, it's so fancy, dude. I don't get it.
Is it?
Yeah, you know how like it feels nice to hold a vinyl record in your hands, like in the package and everything, and then like take out the slip, get to really
Yeah.
feel the vinyl, and it's like very physical that
Mm-hmm.
experience. Um, no, K-pop music packaging is like I couldn't even tell it was a CD at first. Um, I will try to get some pictures for you to take a look at.
I
Um,
wish more physical media would become popular again. I really miss it.
I do too, man. Like, it feels like art nowadays because of how spoiled we are by streaming.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, I will see if I can find the packaging, but
Yeah.
we can continue on to the show. This is just absolutely bizarre to me how weird like their packaging. Like, okay, okay. Here's a good example. Okay, this is being sold at a Target. I don't know this band.
Okay.
I don't know anything, but look at that packaging.
Yeah, that's
That's
pretty excessive.
aesthetic.
Interesting. I guess I guess that's just kind of what you need to do with CDs. Like you can't buy a new car with a CD player, right?
Yeah, that
So you
disturbs
you
me.
can't just have it be commodity. You have to have it be something special.
Yeah, you're right.
I guess it kind of is the same way with new vinyl nowadays, where it's really hard to find a single vinyl. It's all two, three, four vinyl collections of larger pieces, you know?
Actually, I wanted to bring that up briefly here because the Beatles re-released their Revolver album with the new mix.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
how many editions do you think there are for this re-release of Revolver?
I'd imagine they're trying to put Ubisoft to shame.
Okay, so here's our rundown of the 2020 mixes of Revolver by the Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
First, we have the standard edition, which is just the album remastered, a one disc, nice little pamphlet inside giving like the history of the album. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the special edition LP, which is just the vinyl, little bigger packaging. Obviously, you pay for the vinyl. Then we have the Amazon exclusive version, which is the vinyl again, but this time they have a turntable mat for your record player that is the album cover, essentially.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
That is
That's a
pretty cool.
fun little add-on.
I like vinyl turntable mats. They need to
Yeah.
make more of those.
Yeah.
After that, we have. I don't want to get to the big one yet. I'm pretty sure there's still a small one out here that I'm missing.
Okay.
Where the fuck are you? I know there's like another special edition CD where they have a second disc, which is like outtakes, alternate versions of the songs, like just them doing like instrumental versions of some songs. Other ones where a different member sings the songs because they choose, who sings. So that's pretty cool. And then where is it? Where is it? Yes, that's the Super Deluxe version. That's what we just went over. I guess we'll just go to the next edition. Mm-hmm. The Revolver Special Edition doesn't even have the Beatles in the title. For $108 for the CD version, you get 5 disc, and then you get an art book of all the photos from the recording sessions, as well as other things mentioned in the previous versions. Now, you can get the same exact package in vinyl as well, separate version, of course, but with vinyl for $200. And this is for an album that came out fucking over 50 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to step your game up to sell like physical media nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, there's even a
Very.
foreword by Paul McCartney in this version, an essay by Questlove, detailed track notes, even a graphic novel. What the fuck?
It's wild what streaming has done to the music industry. It's just completely turned it upside down.
Everything is upside down nowadays with like
Mm-hmm.
media. But you're right about
That's one thing
streaming.
that I find really frustrating is that generally when you'd buy a CD, you knew it would be of a minimum quality and that it would be kind of standardized. So regardless of like what CD you played, it would be kind of the similar uh you're not going to go from one CD to another have one be like 10 decibels louder,
Yeah,
right? It's all kind of equalized because it's all digital. It's just the data being sent to whatever you're playing it on, and as long as the settings on what you're playing it on haven't changed, it's going to be basically the same. Where with streaming services now, it feels like there's such variation between services and within the services, depending on where you're going. Like on YouTube, things can be all over the place depending on where you're actually listening to it. If you're listening to a music video or just an audio track, or if you're going to like it, it's just so sporadic. It seems.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I have to clear my Google search history for looking up K-pop stuff.
It's too late. They
It,
already know.
they already know.
They're
Being.
coming.
Oh no. I don't want to be a K-pop stan. Get away from me. No, no.
In movie releases this week, there are a couple of smaller ones that are doing quite well. Weird Al is, I think, probably the safe to say the biggest one for this weekend.
Of course.
The one that's been talked about the most, at least, anyways, even though it's not getting a proper theatrical release. With Daniel Radcliffe, of all people, playing Weird Al.
Now, did Weird Al choose him specifically, or like I want to know how the audition process for this went?
I don't know. Probably. I would have to imagine Weird Al was because Weird Al's listed as both a writer and a producer.
Okay.
So I imagine he had to have a pretty extensive amount of creative control through the project.
Mm-hmm.
Because while it is, they describe it as a biography, it's really not.
Then what is
It's
it?
much more. It's, I think the best way that I've heard it described is that it is like the Weird Al version of what a Weird Al biography would be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can kind of get that.
Where it's all kind of exaggerated for comedic effect or
Yeah,
just outright fabricated to help tell a better story.
it's
But it
good.
is funny, it's a comedy and it's doing well.
I can eat it.
Yeah. So this is the good bit of satire in their description here that pretty much gives away the tone of it. Daniel Radcliffe is Weird Al Yankovic in the unexaggerated true story about the greatest musician and sex symbol of our time.
Yeah, I would say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will say the words "a Roku original film" is not something I ever expected to see on a movie release.
It doesn't seem like something that should ever be said, period.
No, it's quite
Roku
weird.
original movie. So now I don't know. Every streaming service is doing original movies nowadays for very obvious reasons. It's their platform exclusives. Oh
Yep.
shit. Guess what I just found?
What's that?
I found there's a Weird the Al Yankovic story original soundtrack. And I'm trying to see if these are just Daniel Radcliffe doing Weird Al covers.
That'd be fun.
I would dig that.
Yeah.
Tell me what's on here. Ah, it's not telling me. Great. Okay. Doing some research real quick.
In the meantime, I'll talk a bit more about. We had the next episode of Andor this week,
Oh yes.
and I am happy to say that it sort of confirms the structure of how they're doing it, where it's a 12 episode run for the whole thing, that they have very clearly broken up into two 6 part blocks that follow the same characters, but are very much their own story arcs. So for me, jumping in kind of in the middle, but like only being able to watch up to the first part of the second half was very tonally weird. Um, yeah, and it's kind of a weird structure to release a show in, to basically have 2 seasons of it lined up and just release it all at once in one series.
Yeah.
But I guess we all know how Rogue One goes. There's only so much of Cassian Andor's story they can actually show.
So, bad news. This is not Daniel Radcliffe covers the Weird Al songs. It's just remixes.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Damn it, Al. So, Andor, does it keep up with those weird music choices you were talking about last time?
A bit. They are continuing to use some of the more synth pop sounds, but not as exclusively as they did at first. It's being intermixed with some of the larger scores they've been having in a way that sounds kind of like how they did with Loki, if you get what I mean, with that, where they have sort of like the theremin kind of sounds, where
Ooh,
it's
okay.
very clearly synthetic, but it's not as out of place as it goes on. And it does work well because in the sort of first half, it's all set um, in and around the sort of like cities, the town that Andor is from, and the location that he goes to without giving too much away is outdoors. So it's very, wilderness and wild, and the score fits that sort of traditional Star Wars sound that you would expect and works with that. Where the second half is set much more predominantly um, on Coruscant, where the Senate is,
Mhm.
as it's following some of the stories of one of the senators that is helping to fund the rebellion. And it follows Andor's story as he is more sort of like in the bowels of the Imperial machine. Uh, and it makes sense to have that more synthetic noise to go with that very stark change of setting. You're not outdoors anymore, you're in these very developed places.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it does make sense, but it is going and just like sort of binge, because I binge watch stuff. That's just what I do,
Yeah.
right? Binge watching it, it's a very hard tonal change that I was not expecting.
Hmm. Yeah, I think Disney is really banking on the idea that everybody watches them as soon as they come out to get that full experience.
Yeah.
And
And
just
if you were watching this episodically,
yeah.
it wouldn't have been so jarring because you're watching one piece a week and you're not having that immediate fresh memory of what you just saw.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, that's good. Next
Good.
episode was definitely a lot more plot heavy. It gives a good idea of where the story's actually going now, rather than just being a bunch of exposition and world building.
Will Darth Vader show up?
Probably not. That was
Darn.
actually something I saw on Reddit when people were talking about it, that people were like happy about, where like the Force stuff just isn't a part of this. It's just not something that they're interested in talking about with this story, which makes sense because like none of these people are in any way related to any of the Force stuff.
Yeah. I think one of the best strengths of Rogue One was how minimum the Force actually played in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
You had like the
Yeah.
monk dude. The monk
Yep.
dude was like all we needed.
Yep. And within the story of it, pretty much everyone else, for the most part of it, just kind of like sort of ignores him as being sort of like washed up and part of something that doesn't really exist anymore. With how the Jedi had already collapsed at that point.
I really like that about the Star Wars canon, and I really wish Rogue I'm sorry, the sequel trilogy wasn't so forced heavy because of that.
Mm-hmm. I hope that seeing the success of Andor will help the Disney executives that are clearly making most of these decisions, particularly the success of Andor compared to Kenobi, will help them to recognize that people the Force and the Jedi isn't why people like Star Wars. They like the original Star Wars because it was understandable and relatable, even though it was such high level sci-fi.
Well, I would even argue like with the Force, it was better as a build up through
Mhm.
Empire, you know? The Empire was really
Oh yeah.
the movie about understanding what the Force was.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it's just a superpower some people have and some people do not have.
Yep. There's a really good piece I saw talking about that recreated scene that they did with Vader at the end of Rogue One,
Yes.
where he's on the ship and he, pops in with his lightsaber. I gotta see if I can find it out because it was great. Somebody was asking in one of the Star Wars subreddits about why it was that he had his like life support lights off, so it was like completely dark until he turns his lightsaber on. Gotta see if I can find it because somebody had a really good explanation for why that was. Why would Vader be so theatrical and dramatic?
I'm sorry, did you not see the prequels?
Right. That's
He
the gist of it. But they had it phrased really well. It was
he
funny.
if there's one thing fucking Anakin Skywalker is, it's dramatic and the kind of person who's willing to kill himself for the sake of a good scene.
I shouldn't be surprised. I was trying to find this because I was it's there's the the Star Wars Reddit. I'm pretty sure what it was on. So naturally, I'm on Reddit. I typed Star Wars, right?
You
What's the
fool.
worst that can happen?
You fool.
Of the one, two, three, four, five, six posts that came up first, just by generic sorting, five of them are porn. Oh man. Never change the internet. Never change. Here we go. I found it now. Did Anakin make his cape billow with the Force while standing on top of his TIE fighter that he also piloted with the Force Skywalker turn off his life support to be more intimidating? Yes, you'd think that Anakin lives on Mustafar, the place where he lost most of his limbs, best friend, and the landed love of his life. Skywalker did exactly that. It's reasonable to assume that Anakin ordered his men to prepare an entire fancy dinner in Cloud City solely to make a dramatic entrance. Skywalker would do that. Anakin lives and breathes for hallway scenes and one-liners. Skywalker has a flair for theatrics, especially when they work. So yeah, he would probably do that.
He would do that.
Other movies coming out this week, because there's actually others. Uh, Enola Holmes 2, which is apparently another Netflix exclusive sequel to a prior movie, is a sort of more directed for children uh, story about Sherlock Holmes' younger sister who is trying to follow in his footsteps.
Yes, I actually remember seeing that pop up quite often lately.
Mm-hmm. I saw this come up most recently because in this movie, Sherlock Holmes is played by Henry Cavill, and Enola Holmes, the younger sister, who is like sort of meant to be more of a turning of age one in this one, I guess,
Okay.
is played by Millie Bobby Brown, who is, a young adult herself compared to Cavill, who's like 39. And there's a headline this week about how they have a perfectly respectable working relationship as adults. where there is literally nothing going on between them other than just being friends, and that was notable. So enough for like TMZ or some crap to try to make a spin story about how they just have a perfectly healthy relationship, that nothing outside of their work relationship is happening. Like,
TMZ sounds
okay,
desperate.
they are. They definitely are. But yeah, it's doing well. It's a fine movie for made for younger audiences.
But Kyrol, we're two guys in our 20s. Where's the movies made for us?
Uh, Black Panther comes out next week.
Kyrol, we are two white guys in our 20s.
Yeah, we're definitely we. There are going to be a lot more movies coming up soon. I hope. I really fucking hope. Where'd it go? I just had a list up here. Like Rotten Tomatoes had like one good article for once in their life. Yeah, they have a list of all of the holiday movies that are still upcoming, and there's quite a few to look
Okay.
forward to. Black Panthers, of course, next week. There's apparently a movie with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds that I hadn't heard about. It's a comedy, of course, because it has Will Ferrell in it. A musical comedy based on Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, with
Uh,
Ferrell as the ghost of Christmas present.
I'm really glad he wasn't Ebenezer Scrooge. I was really afraid there for a second.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is the Scrooge replacement, apparently.
I do not support that.
I need to see the trailer still because, yeah, I agree. It's a weird choice, but I prefer that to it being the other way around. And you could totally see, like in our current culture, someone like Ryan Reynolds just being kind of like playing the self obsessed, overly wealthy asshole that has to learn his lesson.
Yeah,
I could see that being the case.
I get like, I don't know. Um, I just wish we would stop remaking A Christmas Carol. It's like one of my,
I agree.
it's one of
It
my
is
favorite
definitely
stories.
something that doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, it's one of the best stories of all time, and we do not need to just keep remaking it. Um, that it being said, Wakanda Forever is going to be the best movie of the year, and I will stand by that.
I don't know. It has potential to be very good. I don't think I would say it would be the best.
It's got Namor the Fish Man. What is wrong with that?
So they're just copying the boys.
I don't know. I've never seen The Boys.
What is this guy's his name's actually Namor?
Yeah. Do you not know about Namor?
Who does?
I does.
Okay, that's one person.
This is Marvel 101, dude.
Who is Namor then? Enlighten me.
Namor? Okay, so he's the ruler of
Yeah.
Atlantis. He's also known as the Submariner. He's a big deal in the comics. He was a Fantastic Four villain who kind of became like a friend of me a little bit. The main reason I like Namor is he's canonically the kind of guy who will fuck any woman, but he chooses to go after a woman who's already married. So,
Okay.
really, he likes the challenge. And I respect that about Namor. He is the king of Atlantis. He's the king of my hearts. I mean, look at this man. Look how dashing he is. He is going to come up. He's going to fuck your wife, Reed, and you're going to sit there and take it. This is the man who goes around and cucks Reed Richards, and I'm going to stand this motherfucker.
Wonderful. The movie that I'm personally most interested to see this in the year 2022
Mm-hmm.
is the Knives Out sequel.
I still need to see with Knives Out, to be honest.
It's really good.
Is it?
It is.
Uh,
Daniel Craig's southern accent is flawless. You're not excited for Avatar though? It's
uh,
Avatar, The Way of Water.
uh, Have we thought about not making that movie?
Well, it's too late. They've already got three sequels planned out.
Oh God.
It is such a perplexing decision. I get that the first Avatar made all the money ever, but like I would like nothing more than for this to flop so hard on its face. Because it feels like
What?
the worst of the, well, we have to make a sequel to the successful thing kind of movie.
That would be the funniest thing I've ever heard if that happened.
It just, the existence of it doesn't make sense.
The existence of the first Avatar barely makes sense.
I wouldn't even say that. Just as a elaborate excuse to use all the CGI all at once, it's fine. You know, you can do a hell of a lot worse.
I would call it like a tech demo, a glorified tech
It
demo of a movie.
absolutely is.
Yeah.
You know, but like, you don't make sequels for tech demos.
You don't. Have you seen the poster for Way of Water?
Which one? I mean, I've seen like the trailers and stuff because they're going around.
Yeah, but you have the new movie trailer. I mean, sorry, movie poster makes it look like it's a Marvel movie.
A lot of the stills look kind of bad, if I'm honest.
I like some of the underwater shots,
For sure,
which
there's definitely like, I mean, it's still James Cameron, right?
yeah.
Like, there's a floor as to how bad a James Cameron movie is pretty much ever going to be. I don't know. It just seems like the CG seems more waxy, you know, as everything is CG now. The bar for what is top of the line CG gets higher and higher, and I don't know if they can keep up.
Look at this film poster and tell me if it looks good to you because this looks like shit. I do not like this film poster at all.
Oh no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Can I open it? Oh no, it is a very small picture. To be fair,
Yeah.
let me see if there's. 'Cause I'm pretty sure that's on the.
That's on the
Yeah, there
Wikipedia.
we go.
Yeah.
It's on the Wikipedia. It's on the Rotten Tomatoes page here. Yeah, it feels like it's not even Marvel. You know, it's
Yeah.
Star Wars because Star Wars did it first,
Oh, you're right.
and Marvel just copied Star Wars because it works. You know, it's generic enough. But like, I find it very amusing that they're putting these people's faces on the poster that we don't have any idea who they are. Like we're supposed to
Jake
care about them.
Jake Sully is on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know his I guess wife's name? I feel like that is telling for how much the average person actually cares about Avatar.
Uh, Natiri. Duh.
Of course. You would never need to look it up on the Wikipedia page to know that her name is Natiri.
Nope, I got that from the Google Knowledge Panel, bitch.
What's the name of the person below Jake Sully?
Avatar, duh.
The
I
daughter person, I assume, but I could not tell you what their name is.
for whatever reason my
I
Discord just
I couldn't
muted.
even tell you. I saw that. I couldn't even tell you where to look to figure out that person's name.
That is Avatar, and the character right next to Avatar is Way of Water. Duh.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a screen snip here.
Oh no.
Can you tell me, left or right, which one of these dudes is Jake Sully?
Right.
It's not. It's the one on the left.
You're fucking with me.
I'm not.
How do you know that?
Because the new Avatar people that they're showing are the green skin ones.
That's green?
It's supposed to be.
That's like teal best.
Well, teal, whatever. They're the water people.
Yeah.
Because
I
Jake's Avatar dudes are the forest ones for whatever fucking reason.
It's because they didn't want to show blue
But
skin on
but
blue water.
but like that's kind of the idea though, right? Like What is the point of this? It's just such a weird
Money.
decision. And I hope it fails at that.
I want it to fail so bad.
I would laugh so much if all the reviews come out and it's just like, it's fine. Because it's going to be fine. It's all CG, of course, or the vast majority of it.
All this
Um,
water and not a single Namor to be swimming through it.
Last movie we have releasing this week is Armageddon Time, a personal coming of age story about the strength of family and the generational pursuit of the American dream. It
Interesting.
has an Anne Hathaway starring and Jeremy Strong. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't want to be too mean to it because I want the original movies to come back, but it does not
I
sound
know,
great.
like sell your brand, people. Don't give Rotten Tomatoes such a shitty little movie info piece. I have no idea what this is about based on that story. That's
Um.
just so generic.
Okay. I know we're going back towards like kicking the dead horse, but look
Yeah.
at this still from Way of Water.
That looks like garbage. Is that actually from it?
Yes. Would you like to hear the headline, by the way, of like this image I found in Google Images?
That has to be from like a video game. I genuinely don't believe that that is a still from the trailer.
Avatar: The Way of Water. Check out the breathtaking first stills of James Cameron's 3D epic. Okay.
I genuinely like send me a fucking like I don't believe you. I don't believe you that that is not either someone outright lying their ass off or being sarcastic because that is awful.
I'm looking to validate it as well. I'm sending you the link right now. It's from a
That is
little
straight like PS3 graphics.
dude. That's PS2.
I'm just being generous, but yeah.
That is late Square Enix PS2.
Okay. Key piece. This is an article from April.
Yes. Okay. Good point.
So this is probably like leaked footage,
Okay, that
but
makes more
because
sense.
because I saw the trailer for Avatar that they did a Multiverse of Madness release that they're talking about here.
Yeah,
This must be just like some person who worked there leaked some stills or something, or someone just lied.
that is not good. I don't care who you are. The water is the best looking thing in that. I wish I could like show this
Even
to our
then,
audience.
the water doesn't have reflections.
Oh, you're right.
It's just bad. This is garbage.
The first footage from Avatar: The Way of Water was shown at CinemaCon attendees earlier this week, while it was later confirmed that the movie's trailer will be played in front of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. The plan is then to release it online a week later, but it appears some screenshots from that have leaked online courtesy of Chinese box office expert not putting their Twitter handle in here. Who is Jake Sully played by?
I don't actually know. Probably
Okay, I've got the actor's name.
I can see the guy's face. I can't remember his name.
It's Sam Worthington,
Yes.
and he has not done much since.
No. He
Probably because James
he's
Cameron
not
owns him.
he's not a great actor. I'll be honest.
Box office would disagree, dude.
Yeah, the box office set from the time where they had to CG over his whole face.
For like 3/4 of the movie, get it right.
Only most of the time. Oh,
Yeah. You said you
yes,
could picture his face.
he's the lead in Clash of the Titans.
Oh my god.
He plays Perseus, and it's not a good movie.
None of these look good. He was in Terminator Salvation. Congratulations.
Apparently in Dirty Deeds. Yeah, it's not a great track record. But hey, Avatar 3 is already up on Rotten Tomatoes here with an 87% audience score. So who's the real winners here?
I want to know who watched that.
He's not even credited on his page for The Way of Water. That's hilarious.
Do you think they just made the CG model of
Wait,
Jake Sully?
it's 3 hours. Why the fuck is this 3 hours?
Oh, you didn't hear it was 3 hours?
No. Who
Yeah.
the No, I thought, maybe I'll go and see it in theaters just cuz. I'm not going to sit for 3 hours and 10 minutes for that.
Don't worry, it'll be on
I'll
Disney Plus a month later.
Will it? No, it's
Uh,
20th Century. It'll be on
Hulu.
like whatever Paramount Plus is or whatever they partner with. Whatever. No, 20th Century is Fox. So it would be. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
This whole film franchise is weird. Why are they trying to make a film franchise out of nothing? Avatar was a box of nothing. Look what it's done to us. Look at what we're spending our 100th episode making fun of. Did you go see Avatar in the theaters when it first came out?
I think so.
Okay. Okay.
Statistically, it's likely.
Yeah, I remember going to the IMAX.
I found some actual uh, summaries of what the hell happens in Armageddon time.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Inspired by Gray's childhood experience in Queens, New York, the story follows a young Jewish American boy who befriends a rebellious African American classmate and begins to struggle with expectations from his family and growing up in a world of privilege, inequality, and prejudice.
It sounds like a movie.
Yep.
Sounds like it's got the plot, it's got the characters. Mm-mm-mm. Can't wait to see the mise en scènes and editing. That will be quite the movie.
Another upcoming release that I'm pretty excited for is Devotion, which is a war movie, but it's set in the Korean War, which is kind of like recent enough that there's not been a ton made about it yet. But it actually looks like a decent film.
Mm.
I'm interested to see what they do with it.
I feel like war movies have been going out of fashion lately.
Well, the thing is that most of them have switched over to streaming services.
Oh, that makes sense.
One of the big ones, let's see if I don't remember what it's called. It's a German language one, which I thought was actually kind of interesting, but is apparently doing really well on Netflix now. Is one based in World War One,
Oh,
as sort of like a German version of Band of Brothers, kind of.
okay.
But we've had a couple of really good ones actually lately. 1917 is excellent, just more from a cinematography perspective than a war movie perspective. But there's been a lot of more emphasis, a lot more emphasis put on World War One than World War Two lately, which I think is interesting.
I think we're a little against the ideas of Nazis nowadays, and we
Yeah.
don't want to show
Well,
them up too much.
I mean, honestly, I think it's more because we got kind of burnt out on the World War II stuff. It seemed like there was a World War II documentary or historical piece coming out like every other week when the History Channel was at its prime, and it kind of left a gap in the common knowledge when it came to World War One instead.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's sort of fresh content to hammer in on.
It's free real estate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All we got for movie releases, unfortunately, though, because we had to wait a whole week for Black Panther. Did you catch the PlayStation VR 2? You,
Gesundheit.
yeah, right. Uh, it costs more than a PlayStation 5.
Oof, I beg your pardon?
Yeah,
I better
five
be
hundred
able
and
to
fifty
have
dollars.
legs in Horizon Worlds with that shit.
Maybe not Horizon Worlds, but you will in Horizon Zero Dawn, which
Oh,
is so far the only confirmed title for it, as far as I understand.
that was an excellent segue, my dude.
Yeah, it's a thing. I'd be really curious to know how the first PSVR actually ended up doing because I heard pretty much nothing about it.
I feel like there was this real push for VR in the gaming space for a while, and like the last big thing from it was like Labo by Nintendo. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I heard a lot of really good stuff about. I guess kind of the same as Labo, like the more tech demo type things,
Yeah.
things that are more like one and done experiences rather than full games. Because I know PlayStation has their like Astro mascot thing that they've been doing a lot with lately.
Mm-hmm.
That has been not, you know, a mile wide and an inch deep. Right? It's cool to do once, but not replayable almost at all.
It's so weird thinking that Labo was a thing.
Yeah. Have they officially like stopped doing new ones?
I don't think they've said an official statement on it, but it's been years
Yeah.
since the last one.
I guess that is just kind of how Nintendo does, right?
Yeah.
It,
But
it's how Nintendo.
wait till the Switch 2. Then we'll get Labo 2.
You're honestly probably not wrong.
Oh, I know I'm fucking right. You know how I know that?
What's that?
My uncle works at Nintendo, bitch. You know,
It's a shame though, It was a really cool idea
I will
for
say I'm all for stuff like that.
yeah, for
Like,
being that kind of like because VR and a lot of it is kind of gimmicky. And you don't necessarily want to play it all the time. So having it be literally biodegradable was a really cool way of doing that.
all I'm saying, dude, is like, I wanted the day I could walk into VR chat with my Labo set, you know?
I mean, they did the VR thing. Oh no, but right, because they did it like the Virtual Boy, where you can't, like, you have to like hold it up.
Oh, you're right. Holy shit.
Yeah,
Why did they do that?
yeah. Oh man.
Ugh. That's where you get your patent pending Labo uh, VR tape, which may look like duct tape, but a totally separate product nonetheless. You just kind of like wrap it around your head a few times. And by the time you go through that roll of duct tape, you'll probably be sick of VR as well.
Yeah. I'm waiting still. I feel like it's like the most Google thing ever. I feel like is Google Glass, where they have a really good idea that they try to do as a final product way too early and burn the entire concept out for kind of everybody because of how rushed and early it is as a concept when they first release it, and then they drop it and nobody ever touches it again.
Of course.
If somebody came out with a Google Glass comparative today, something I can just like clip on the corner of my glasses and have a little screen that's just always kind of there that I can run GPS or, simple YouTube videos, that kind of stuff on. I would be all over that. Like real-time AR is way more cool as a concept than all the VR bullshit they're trying to do. And the really frustrating thing for me is whenever I see Meta does this a lot, where they're trying to push it as like an in-office thing,
Mm-hmm.
where they want you to strap this giant headset on, and then they put cameras on the outside of the headset so you can still fucking see around you,
Of course.
rather than just having it not be this giant fucking headset.
I argue augmented reality is probably the future of Web 3 more than VR. Just
Yeah, it
because,
should be.
yeah, it actually extends something instead of just replaces everything.
Hmm. One of the really, I think at least the coolest tech demonstration that I've seen was from LG a couple of years back when they started to make tech demo versions of translucent OLEDs, where they are OLED TVs that when they're turned off, you can literally see through them like a window.
That's interesting.
And they've just never really gotten to the point with them to have them meet like a market adoption. But I could totally see that with like it's like the futuristic thing, right?
Yeah.
You slap a TV in the window of your business and you can make it say whatever you want. But people can still see through it to see in your business.
Mm-hmm.
It's like at your fingertips, whatever neon sign you want. At your fingertips, you can throw your specials on your TV window and everybody knows what sales you have. But they can still see through it. It just never went anywhere. Because probably largely because Meta started throwing literally billions of dollars annually at VR crap. And the interest for it from a like venture capital side just kind of fell off.
Well, I think virtual reality makes lot more sense, like as a
Yeah.
business, than augmented reality. Like,
Mm. From the venture capital perspective, VR is a product they can sell today.
yes.
It's not a product that they have to market 5 years from now. And from that perspective, I get it. I don't agree with it, but I do get it.
Well, I mean, you also got like what you said about Google Glass and how it was way too early for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You still have to wait for people to kind of forget about Google Glass. And I'm not saying like I think the biggest proponent for augmented reality, and it's probably going to be the biggest proponent for augmented reality in all of history.
Yeah.
Um, it's Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that went a long way towards normalizing augmented reality as an idea. I just wish we would like jump on it more. Like imagine the technology of Google Glass was something like the reach that Pokemon Go has, where it's literally the whole planet as a game. I don't know. I would love to live in a world where you're able to actually like, and I guess this is because Google Glass is where I set the precedent. But imagine being able to just look at something and just start a web search just off the image that you're looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Google, the technology they have is really close to that with how they do it through smartphone cameras.
Yeah.
But they just haven't there's like a very small step that they just aren't willing to make, it feels like.
I don't know what the hangup is.
Yeah. Clearly
So
they just need to employ us and then we fix all their problems.
we are literally I like a whole generator of ideas.
Yeah.
There's nothing we could stop. Fuck. You know, if Israel and Palestine wanted to like get their shit together, they would hire us. I'm trying to see if there's still like modern day Google Glass.
There definitely is. I actually remember seeing God, I don't remember how it turned out, but there was a case, I think it was in France, of someone who had like actual cybernetic shit. Like it was attached to his skull where he could interface with it in an AR way, and he was being refused entry into some place because he basically had a camera attached to his physical body,
Mm,
and
mm.
he was suing over that because it was partly uh like um cosmetic aesthetic not required, but also it helped him with some disability that he had, so it was like I don't know, it's weird, but yeah.
Did you know there's Google Cardboard?
Yes, yeah.
That is such
Do they still do
bullshit.
it?
Yes.
Oh yeah. No, they had it for years because the idea was that, why buy a VR headset when you have your phone already?
Yeah. Nintendo needs to sue somebody. Or I guess someone needs to be
Google
sued.
needs to sue Nintendo
Yeah.
because they had it for so long. Yeah.
Holy shit.
But it was the same idea. And it should have been a much greater success, I feel like. I don't know. It's always a problem with Google where they just don't market it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
Everything is weird. I don't understand tech capitalists. You know, we could do so much better than they're actually doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just give me all of the money in the world like Elon has, and I will fucking get this shit ready to get us to
I,
Mars.
I promise you, I will waste all of it.
I will waste it all with a goddamn smile on my face. Anything else for the show, Mr. Kyrol?
That's all I got.
Oh, fuck. Well, thank you all for tuning into the Two Schmoe episode 100. I got a little emotional here, especially in the middle when we start talking about. I don't even remember what we talked about.
I
But,
do have one thing.
oh no.
On that link you sent me for Google Cardboard,
Yeah.
the 5th product available under Shop Google Cardboard is a Hasbulla cutout, a life-size cardboard cutout.
What?
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
This little dude. Oh, that's terrifying. That's a PNG apparently. One sec.
Just
Why would they make that a PNG? That's horrifying.
it's so weird. It doesn't look right at all.
Is that better? Do you know what I mean now?
Yes, I do know who you mean, but
Yeah.
I prefer the PNG.
I'm gonna save that and just randomly post it in places because it's so menacing.
It's like evil.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I find it so fucked up that the PNG like whiteout data where they're transparent on the white affected his skin.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh,
That's just wrong. Why would they do that? Like someone would have to have gone in and done that intentionally. I don't get why.
Okay. Well, I'm the Miss Orion and I've been a Schmoe.
I'm Kyril and I've been a Schmoe.
And I'm so putting this motherfucker in the next episode.